Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. So glad you're with us to stay curious today with our executive director of our foundation, my boss, Gabriel Rothblatt. Hey, Gabriel.
Hey, Mark, doing a great job.
Thank you. We're here today because we've got an important board meeting at 4:30, and that's a hard one for us. So the board members apparently would rather skip work than watch Stay Curious, so we have a shorter show today and have to be out of here. But I want you all to get to know Gabriel. As we've talked about, the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation is our 501c nonprofit here in Florida, and he is over the foundation and the money part of it, and then I'm the director of our Space Museum. And our wonderful Karen Conklin kind of wore both hats there for a while, and it is definitely a job for two people at this point. But Gabriel, going to take your questions. If you have a question out there, Marty Winkle will throw it to us. I didn't grab any of my smart devices, but I met Gabriel as you're an executive at the National Space Society. Think Ad Astra Magazine, and Bert Dicht, who's a monthly guest here and your friend.
Yes.
Gabriel's also the chairman of the International Space Development Council, and also spearheading our 321 day. So you get it. He's just like me. We no grass grows under our feet, and I think you're like me. I kind of like it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gabriel, tell us what's been happening in the last 5 months that you and I've been over this wonderful nonprofit.
Well, yeah, it has been a whirlwind. Just I came in here initially as a volunteer board member. I had just joined the board this summer, and tragically and just so suddenly, we lost Karen, who I had known for over 10 years through, the community and just other activities. Um, and so I was, so personally just so hurt, by that loss. But one day turned into two, just very quickly, and dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and re-envisioning. So not only did we lose someone who had been with this organization for 20 years, right? So that is what we call institutional memory, right? But the state repositioned its relationship with museums and cultural organizations, and the Department of State is no longer funding grants to these organizations. So we also had an organizational pivot. We had to change how we operated, and so almost a whole rollover of staff, together. And now moving forward, we are working in unison. I mean, at the end of the day, sure, I'm signing the checks, but really, we are binary stars. I would say in this,
That's a good, you and me.
yeah, in this system, because
We are. That's
there's
a
so
cool way to
much that
put it.
needs to be done. Mark, the work that you've been doing, over the last years in the community, earning that Colcom Award that you received this fall, is incredible. But
You.
in order to, you really can't have the patience and be everywhere and keep your eye on the compliance and the changing, dynamics. I mean, most people in business right now have their head spinning, right? The way the world is, what is crypto now? There's just so much change happening, that honestly, and the board, saw this as well. It was time to task two different programs going out here. And so this allows you, Mark, to continue the excellent programming and the awareness and the credibility for the museum, while I can look at compliance, can look at finance, and you're keeping the boiler, on the steamship running, but someone's got to navigate where we're going, and you can't do both, or else you're going to run into something, right? And that's what we've created right now, which is working really well. I mean, you see it in our guests, you see it in the staff, the volunteers, the docents. everyone is feeling better. It looks cleaner, and we are doing new things and leading the way, not just to telling history, but inspiring the future, and for all the rest of our sister museums and cultural institutions. The American Space Museum has always been at the forefront of the Museums of Brevard, which is the association that we have here on the Space Coast of over 20, museums, historical sites, cultural institutions, and we're proud to be, a leader, of that group.
Absolutely. Thank you for what you said there about me personally, and the same to you. Gabriel's family established Sirius Radio. He's from a legacy satellite company, and they're very involved with the National Space Society, of course, and this ISDC, International Space Development Conference. I'll let you talk about in a minute there. Part of our day today, can't ignore its crew launch day today, okay? And we got 7:48. Hopefully have Anne McLean, Nicole Ayers, and a Japanese and Russian cosmonaut go up in space before our eyes. And I got a phone call from photographer Chris Marie from Ohio, who said, Mark, my calculations say that the rocket's going to pass right in front of the sun from your parking lot. And GPS, they can figure that out. And so he's coming here with maybe another photographer to capture that, it going in front of the moon, the rocket going in front of the moon. So a lot of energy today on the launches. We're full. We got a lot of changes. I've worked on the curb appeal. We're just about done refinishing our Cape Canaveral gallery. We're going to switch around the gift shop on Friday and make it more efficient. And no one is more of a volunteer behind this museum than our friend Marty Winkle over there, who's got a comment to make on that USAC family microphone. Marty.
Yeah, Tom USAC is saying that he helped with photography for the first issue of Ad Astra with Leonard David, Kate McMains, and Lori Garver.
Absolutely, yeah. So Ad Astra is the publication of the National Space Society. The National Space Society began 50 years ago this year as the L5 Society. So it has an incredibly rich history, merged with the National Space Institute. And, I don't think there is anybody anyone who's anybody in space who hasn't had some interaction, through the lifeline of that. So thank you for those contributions. We have the newly elected Congressman George Whitesides, former director Lori Garver, former President Buzz Aldrin, former CEO of the National Space Society, and Peter Diamandis, former board member as well. It's just such a rich history and group. I'm quite honored to be filling the shoes myself. Actually, the term that I'm sitting on the board was vacated by Mark Hopkins, who also very untimely and suddenly passed away, a year earlier than Karen. Mm-hmm. And I was elected to fill the remainder of that seat on the board for the National Space Society.
Marty, would you please get behind you that Ad Astra magazine on the desk there? Didn't load up any slides. We've got a beautiful photograph that Nick Enix, our collection manager, took with, he's a Canon man there, UCX out there. But there's the magazine we're talking about for you newbies out there. They have a $30 introductory rate that we're going to combine a membership one day here with. But there's the National Development Conference. It's actually in June. But your family created an award to give out decades ago or so on this. And tell us who gets the Mark Rothblatt Award this year and current recipients.
Well, so for this year, we will find out at the 2025 International Space Development Conference being held.
I'm not supposed to tell anybody?
Well, we yeah. So being held at the Rosen Center, June 19th through 22nd, 2025, we will be presenting the Martine Rothblatt Space Settlement in our Lifetime Business Plan competition. Last year's winner was Trent Tresh and his spacesuits for children that he does. Trent is a human factors design a specialist, and he works at Biosphere 2, and designs spacesuits. So just a great gentleman. The year before that, the winner was Ben Hadelman of A Life Ship, and that project has 2 payloads who have gone to the moon. Right, so the Blue Ghost payload, which landed about a week ago, has a small pyramid inside of it, which has records of genetic samples, including mine. My swab is on.
Your genes are on the moon.
My genes are on a pyramid on the moon, on the Blue Ghost.
That beats my name on Mars 3 or 4 times, like we all do. Well, we're talking with Gabriel Rothblatt. He's my partner in crime here at the American Space Museum. We know that many of you we've been blessed with you being in our museum. We've got to about 10 more minutes, maybe 13. We've got to get on a Zoom call at 4:30 our time. There is an eclipse of the moon Thursday night in the middle of the evening. We'll cover that tomorrow, but on our coast, it's total lunar eclipse at 3 in the morning. So set your alarm clock about 2:45 and get up and see the blood moon, and I'll talk about that on some backyard astronomy tomorrow. Gabriel, Marty, we have any questions over there?
Sure.
All right. We appreciate everybody watching here. I want Gabriel to do some shows on his own when I can take a vacation after Shuttle Fest type of thing. And I wanted to mention, Gabriel, that you're also got your realty license. You own properties and businesses. You're very shrewd businessman here in Brevard County, and he's also run for political office, a couple things on there, and still has aspirations to do that. And my personal opinion, Gabriel will be a great representative for NASA in Congress as an assistant administrator or something like that. And,
Thank you.
He's really things he's doing here are envious to some of you out there that how he understands the political climate. We had Congresswoman Jo Lynn Nelson in here today, talking with her, and she seems to councilwoman. Yeah, what did I say?
Congress.
Oh, councilwoman in there. Yeah.
Herodopoulos might have something to say about that.
Yeah, and right, Herodopoulos is somebody that he's our local congressman, and he's on the subcommittee for space flight, and we're anxious for Jared Isaacman to be installed as NASA administrator. And somebody told me their sister ran into him at the Washington Mall. He was running around out there in sweats. So he must be getting close to his confirmation hearing because he lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, and great guy.
You're welcoming him to ISDC.
Absolutely. So on behalf of this year's Von Braun Award, which is being offered to the Polaris Dawn team, so that mission where he did a little meerkat outside of the
meerkat,
outside of the capsule. I was expecting, honestly, they said he was gonna. I was thinking, little cord attached, he'd be floating around out there. But it's still super significant to expose the inside of that capsule for everybody in there to do what they did. Just incredible achievement.
Brand new spacesuits, and I like seeing taking the baby steps like NASA always did to make sure, one little thing you hadn't thought of kills you, basically.
Well, this is great. So some of us may remember when our congressman at the time, Bill Nelson, who then became senator, then became NASA administrator. He went to space as a mission specialist on the shuttle. So you have to get him at Shuttle Fest next year. Talking about that.
Yeah. But, he'd probably be doing nothing.
This will be. He's cycled out now.
Yeah.
Great gentleman. In fact, I've flown to DC a few times and just ended up on the plane with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
cool.
He's a great guy, as well. So, but having the potential to have someone who's actually been to space become the NASA administrator, someone who understands the business side of space would be just tremendous. And 10 years ago, I was a political candidate. I ran for United States Congress, and much of what I spoke about was the need to create a domestic commercial space industry to allow commercial industry to launch from the port that we have right here. 10, 11 years later, now we've achieved that. This isn't just a busy space, it's the busiest commercial spaceport, which is just absolutely tremendous. And to tap someone like Jared Isaacman, who has the not just the capability, but the character that I think is necessary, for that job, will allow us to compete, in the way that Americans love to do, moving forward into a new era of space.
Thank you. I'm loving it. Thank you. Very well put there. You get an idea now more where Gabriel's coming from, and hope if you're like-minded, his email is like mine, our first name at americanspacemuseum.org. His is Gabriel, mine is Mark with a Q. And Mark with the Q says, "Hey, Marty, what's going on that microphone? What, you got a question?"
Got a question from Dave Stange. Are you anticipating any changes to the show in the future?
Absolutely. I think changes to we are looking at investments, and so I guess the first question is, we're going to change the studio.
Yeah.
So we're going to be moving the studio, and then in moving the studio, we're going to be investing in some new gear components. We're looking for sponsors and donations to help us improve the content. I've been talking with Mark about turning this show into a channel. And so we are going to look at increasing our programming above and beyond just Stay Curious, Star Curious.
Kids stay curious.
Absolutely.
Show on that. Yeah, this is why we mesh. He's really got. I mean, he's part of an international development council that wants to put civilization on Mars or on asteroids or whatever. And we're moving our room over to the next door here for more space. It'll be more, I think, of a setup. But we want to get Emily Carney involved, the Space Hipsters. We want the space community to be more involved. We're going to be doing more Google Meets thing here. But it's evolving. And, I've got my shelf life. I realize that. And you're seeing his beautiful black hair and my beautiful silver hair here. But I'm pragmatic about that. I love what I do. I can only do it so many years into the future here. And I certainly love to produce some other hosts and so forth, and me come on periodically. But right now, we know that it's important because of you out there. And Gabriel, I talk about to Gabriel all the time. He watches. We have such an intelligent group out there. You all are definitely, a lot of you have some expendable income that for your vacations and your support. And I'm talking to Mitch Rothman and Steve Jokums out there, who now you're familiar to our accountant here, and we really appreciate that. There's Mitch's National Space Club there. Like Gabriel said, this is what I've tried to do to put boots on the ground and make our museum something more than just a bunch of artifacts that are 60 years old, that out of 10 people, 2 of them love John Glenn's hard hat. The other 8 are saying, how close are we to Universal and Disney World? And when do we eat? So, Marty, you have any other questions? You have a comment or question there?
Nope, that was it.
Thought you did.
Let's talk a little bit about 321 Day.
Yes, 321 Day.
We got coming up in 1 week,
Yep.
March 21st.
End it with that.
Second annual 321 Day. Last year inaugurated in honor of Robert Osband, who created 321 area code. Ozzy. And now we're calling it Space Coast Birthday Celebration. A 321 Day, March 21st. Just a great time to come together. Wear green for go. and celebrate the birth of the Space Coast in Brevard County, right here in historic downtown Titusville. We are going to be offering of free cake in the Titusville Welcome Center. The Pritchard House will be open for tea in the garden. We'll have vendors, food trucks and vendors out here in the Julia Street parking lot.
And a tremendous band.
And Interstellar Groove Machine back for the second time around. Just a great team. Love their sound.
All space workers.
All space workers. So it bringing together space and community, the space community, which is, the Space Coast. Like it or not, doesn't matter what you do. If you live, out here, you are part of the space community. Everything that happens here to make sure that we continue to put rockets into space and people on those rockets. And tonight is such a great example of that. Crew 10 going up.
Beautiful day. It's a beautiful Chamber of Commerce evening here. The full moons, or almost full moon, is going to be rising. Be full moon, so that's going to be a big photo op. We're just 3 blocks from one of the best places to sit. We're 10 miles from where the crew is probably in right now, or getting out ready for their walkout, I think, at about 5 o'clock. But we got to cut away. But thank you, Rocket Lady Elizabeth, and she was in here giving her time.
Yep. Thank you.
Give a shout out
Galactic
to Lori.
Medallion, yeah.
Lori's assisting you.
Space Coast Lori, thank you.
And Doug Forrest is in Los Angeles. Gary Gerald, he's getting them Vidalia onions ready for us up there. And Tommy Usiak, you'll meet Tom at Shuttlefest. Tom Celentano is in Connecticut. You are a Northeasterner by trade. Tell them where you graduated from.
I am Go Cats, University of Vermont. Yep.
Okay, Burlington,
Vermont. Yeah.
All right. I photographed an Ohio State, Burlington, or Vermont basketball game up there for Sports Illustrated. Well, way before you were born, I think. Dean Babcock, thank you. Bob Mayran, he's down in Miami, he told me. Julie Clay's watching. Thank you, Julie. The paint's dry, and she helped a lot on that room, as did Connie McDaniel and Marty there. And hi, Sharon Rodriguez, up there at the Sands History Museum. And Steve Jokums, Tom, we got Tom on there twice, as he deserves it. And Dave Stangy, thank you all for watching today. And any final thoughts, Gabriel, before we cut out and go talk to some of our board members? We have Emily Carney on the board from Space Hipsters. I just talked to her a little bit ago. We've got a young lady that's on a career source program.
Yep. Stephanie Robinson.
Yep. And we got 2 young men here. Their first jobs are here and working our gift shop in the front
Absolutely,
end.
yeah. So let's actually, we've got 3 new people here, so let's give them a good welcome. Jordan and Braden, they are here through Career Sources work experience. So this is their first job. They're doing tremendous work here. They're happy, excited to be here, just soaking in all this. So welcome Jordan, welcome Braden, and also welcome Barbara. She is also through a Career Source program, but through the AARP side. And
Dan's been up here for a couple months.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. All of our volunteers, our staff, you are also space workers, and all the space workers out there, thank you. And please come
Truex,
see our freshly painted Canaveral gallery.
Yep. Yeah. Anita Truex is out there, always managing all things from the Harvest Host Park in here to whatever. And Matthew certainly is another career source that we hired as an employee after he proved it. And a lot of people like you I've seen get, and our new employees, I mean, there's a passion for this that's contagious. And so come on down if you're local, volunteer 4 hours a month and see if you can catch our space bug here. So we've got to go out and talk to our bosses, the board of directors, and we're always happy to do that as they're starting to embrace what we've wanted them embrace for a long time here, raising money to preserve the birth of America's space age right here in its delivery room, Brevard County. So until tomorrow, when I'm going to talk about the eclipse of the moon, final thought from you. I want to thank Gabriel for his cooperation, and like he said, we're both like a binary stars in our own orbits, and we really feel good about what we're doing thanks to the confidence given to us by our board.
Absolutely. So I could think, closing thought is that, time, talent, treasure. We are a 501c3. This is a nonprofit operation, and we do need your support to continue to preserve the history of the American space program and human space flight, and also to inspire the future space workers, astronauts, and continue to tell the story of the history of tomorrow. So if you have in any of that time, talent, treasure, 1, 2, or the 3, please reach out to us and let us find a way that we can leverage your generosity, support, and passion for the space program here at America Space Museum.
Thank you. Well said. And so until tomorrow, I'm Mark Marquette on behalf of Gabriel and our whole staff here, loving you and saying we'll see you again tomorrow to bridge the space between us.